Hi, my name is Shayna Fields. Thank you for being a poll worker. Poll workers are the heart and soul of elections. Democracy depends on you. You and your election board team serves a vital role in ensuring Philadelphians can cast their votes. Voting gives people a meaningful voice in their communities that can't be lifted up without you. It has been said that poll workers are the customer service face of our democracy. This training video will teach you how to be successful on Election Day and run your polling place confidently. Thank you for being a crucial part of elections in Philadelphia.
Welcome to Election Day Poll Worker Training. We encourage you to watch this video and follow along with the Poll Worker PowerPoint and Election Guide. Both are available on our website. The training guide will also be in your election materials box on Election Day. It contains details on election procedures and rules. Rely on your election board checklists to get set up on Election Day. Before we get started, let us introduce you to our training cast. Judge of Election, Majority Inspector, Minority Inspector, Clerk, Machine Inspector, Bilingual Interpreter, Poll Watcher, Police Officer, Committee Person, and of course, our voters. You will arrive at your polling place between 6 and 6:30 a.m. so that you can check in on time. Make sure to have your election materials box with the correct ward and division you are assigned to work on Election Day. Check the ward and divisions label on your ExpressvoteXL to make sure each machine matches your election materials box. The first election board worker to arrive at the polling place should locate the black nib network in a box that is attached to the ExpressvoteXL Machine A. One division in each polling place will have a network box, so if your site has multiple divisions, you may need to check other Machine A units to locate the nib. As soon as you arrive, locate the machine with the nib and turn it on by pressing the silver power button at the top of the box. When powered on, the area surrounding the button will light up blue. A full election board includes Judge of Election, Majority Inspector, Minority Inspector, Clerk, one or two Machine Inspectors, and sometimes a bilingual interpreter. Vacancies can be filled by any voter registered in the division. The Judge of Election can appoint a Majority Inspector. Majority Inspector can appoint a Judge of Election, and Minority Inspector can appoint a clerk. Last, starting at 7:30 a.m., any voters registered in the division can curbside elect any other registered voter from the division to any vacant role for this election only by a show of hands. Poll workers must be United States citizens, residents of Philadelphia, and registered voters in Philadelphia. We have a program specifically for high school students called Involved at 17, where students who are 17 years of age may work at the polling place. You might have a high school student take on roles like Machine Inspector or Bilingual Interpreter. Please help them feel welcome. Election board officials must take the oath of office before interacting with any election materials. The printed oath of office is inside the election materials box. The Judge of Election is sworn in first by the Minority Inspector. The judge will swear in the remainder of the board. Once everyone has been sworn in, you should begin setting up your polling place. The polling place must be fully set up for voting by 7 a.m. Let's discuss a few key terms you need to know. First, the NIB, or Network in a Box. The first person to arrive should have already turned on the NIB, but double check. You must have the NIB turned on before 7 a.m. to get the latest voter update from the city. Throughout the rest of the day, it's an offline network. If the NIB is not turned on, the electronic poll books won't work perfectly, but will remain usable. Remember, only one division in each polling place will have a NIB. Second, the electronic poll book. You might also hear it called e-poll book. This is where you'll check in voters, issue ballots, and where you'll sign in to ensure that you get paid. Next, the ExpressvoteXLs are your voting machines. Every division will have at least 2. Some will have 3 or 4 based on higher expected turnout. The secure ballot hopper is inside each ExpressvoteXL. It contains the official voting ballots. The judge of election will have an election code lanyard with the key needed to open the top of voting machines and the election code needed to open the election on the ExpressvoteXLs and electronic poll books. There are also several seals for different materials. There are green, yellow, and red seals. We will explain each type of seal and what to do with it in this video. They are also detailed in your election board guide. You'll also have the yellow number 2 and 4 books. The yellow books are where you'll record each voter's name and admission number. If it's a primary election, you'll also record party affiliation. You'll record spoiled ballots beside the voter's name in the books, and you'll record provisional ballots in the back of the books. Now that you're more familiar with some key terms, we're going to demonstrate how to open the polls. There are step-by-step instructions for every task in your guide, as well as troubleshooting procedures. Begin by opening the electronic poll books. It's important that you start with this so that the poll books will be ready by 7 a.m. when the polls open. Take the electronic poll books out of the case. Lift each bracket to free them from their white clasp. Swing each orange bracket out until you hear a click, indicating that the bracket is locked. Connect the magnetic power supply to the electronic poll book and plug the power block into an outlet. Press the orange power button on top of the electronic poll book flip stand. The power button is the farthest button to the left when looking at the screen. The electronic poll books are peer-to-peer connected by the NIB. Remember, the NIB is your network in a box. In other words, it's how the electronic poll books talk to each other and how both e-poll books know which voters have come through the polling place. After your electronic poll books are set up, you should set up the printers. First, take the printers, cables, and blank paper ballots out of the back compartment of voting machine B. Plug the D-shaped plug into the adapter. Plug each printer's power cable into the power strip. Plug the AC supply into the printer. You'll notice it will only fit in one direction. The cable should have matching color stickers to make this process easy. Plug each printer's USB cable into one of the Express Pollbook tablets. Press the power button on the front of the printer to turn it on. The light will glow blue, when the printer has powered on successfully. To launch the electronic Pollbooks, once the tablet is powered on, touch Launch. When prompted, enter the Pollbook qualification code, which is labeled PQC on the lanyard. Touch Submit. Patiently wait until the program launches. The launch screen will display ward, division, and polling place. Confirm the information is correct. If the ward or division are wrong, call 215-686-7800 for assistance. Sign in with the username and password that are located on the lanyard. Touch Open Polls. You need to launch the electronic Pollbooks by 6:45 a.m. Now that the electronic Pollbooks are turned on and the printers are set up, you can open the polls on the ExpressvoteXL machines. There's a checklist in your guide that you should follow. First, confirm again that you have the correct ward and division on your ExpressvoteXLs. Plug the power cord from the A machine into a power outlet and make sure the power status panel on the upper left corner of the ExpressvoteXL is green. You will have extension cords if needed. Plug the power cord from the B machine into the side panel of the A machine. If you have a C machine, you should plug that into the B machine. Lock the wheels on the ExpressvoteXLs. Next, you'll begin recording seal numbers. Be careful, green seals will be broken. Yellow seals will be removed at the end of the night, and red seals will remain intact. Get the poll site seal card, a pen, the 2 red wire seals, and the vinyl bag from the materials box. Record the numbers of the red wire seals on the poll site seal card and place them back into the election materials box. Break the green seal on the front cover. Throw the seal away. Break the green seal on the bottom back of the machine and record the seal number on the poll site seal card. Throw away. Open the front top white compartment using the key on the lanyard. Note that the USB stick is already inserted. Do not touch it until close of polls. Press and release the red power button to turn the machine on. Remove the yellow seal from the access compartment. Do not throw this seal away. Close and lock the machine access compartment. Attach the yellow seal through the small hole at the top center at the rear of the machine. This seal is the second way to lock the front compartment. Be sure to record the yellow seal number on the poll site seal card. Now we will open your poll on the ExpressvoteXL. You should adjust the screen to a comfortable angle. The first screen will request an election code. Input the election code located on the back of the lanyard. Upon successful election code entry, the second screen that appears will be the poll and device status screen. Touch the bottom left-hand corner of the screen to confirm that the following is correct: election, election date, ward, division, and the public count. It must read public count 0. On the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, tap the green Open Polls button and re-enter the password from the lanyard. Tap the blue Accept button in the bottom right corner of the screen. The 0 tape will print from the report printer. Prevent the tape from touching the screen by tucking it behind the machine. Once the tape has finished printing, review the tape to ensure all results show 0 votes. Each poll worker will sign the printed tapes from each machine. Place the signed 0 tapes from each ExpressvoteXL in the RTC envelope, which is located in the vinyl bag. After verifying and signing the 0 tapes, touch the Continue button on the ExpressvoteXL. And then touch the Go to Voting button. Let's walk through how to set up the ADA device. Move to the back of the ExpressvoteXL labeled Machine A. Use the barrel key to unlock and open the rear storage door. Remove the headphones and the ADA device, sometimes called the Universal Voting Console, from the storage area. Place the ADA device on the left corner of the ExpressvoteXL's frame, above the rear storage door. Plug the headphones into the headphone jack. Ensure the USB cable is plugged into the USB slot on the left inside corner within the rear storage area. Close the rear storage door, carefully feeding the USB cable through the small notch at the top left corner of the door. Lock the rear storage door with the barrel key. And now, your last step for setting up the ExpressvoteXLs. Set up the privacy curtain. First, at the bottom rear of the ExpressvoteXL, pull off the privacy curtain storage container cap, being sure to keep the storage container intact. Remove the privacy curtain from the storage container and recap the container. On the front of the ExpressvoteXL, insert the privacy curtain rods into the privacy curtain rod mounts and unfold the curtain. Then, loosen the white plastic clamps on the privacy curtain rod mounts on either side of the ExpressvoteXL. Then, extend the mounts to the maximum height. Retighten the clamps. Make sure the light is facing down so that it shines on the floor when a voter initiates a voting session. Congratulations! Your ExpressvoteXL machines are ready for voting. Do not forget, no voters may start voting before 7 a.m. Continue setting up your polling place with the materials found within your materials box. The election guide reviews where supplies go. You'll hang 14 posters in all. All posters must be hung up in all 3 languages provided: English, Spanish, and Chinese. Posters will be hung both outside and inside the polling location. Every division must hang all of their posters, even if you have more than one division in your polling place. You will have blue posters for the inside only, voting law posters, white posters, pink posters, sample ballots in English, Spanish, and Chinese, yellow posters, and blue accessibility posters if your polling place is accessible. You can think of the different areas of the polling place as stations. These stations are noted in your election guide. Stations 1 and 2 are for greeting and voter sign-in. There is also a voting procedure flowchart in case you need help when voters sign in, as well as a list of accepted forms of ID. Using the election guide to direct you, set up the election tables with the following materials. Station 1 will include an electronic poll book, pens, QR codes for voter polling place and registration lookup, located in your election guide, the accepted forms of ID list, the yellow number 2 book, the language access guide, and an American flag. Station 2 will include an electronic poll book, supplemental poll book pages, affirmation forms, assistance forms, the yellow number 4 book, the absentee mail-in voters lists, which are delivered by a police officer in the morning, and pens. Station 3 is at another table where possible, and is where provisional ballots are issued. The judge of election will need to manage these procedures with the minority inspector. There's a step-by-step guide that explains how to issue provisional ballots and a guide for surrendering a mail ballot. Station 3 will include the materials box containing the spoiled ballot bag and envelope C, spoiled ballot stickers, black markers, pens, electors' declaration to surrender their mail ballot forms, provisional ballot packages in English, Spanish, and Chinese, provisional ballot receipts, and purple folder labeled Attention, Judge of Election. The purple folder contains the following important forms in English, Spanish, and Chinese: assistance declarations, affirmations of electors, challenge affidavits and receipts, the HAVA complaint forms, and plain language versions of any ballot question. At Station 3, if you are able to find or create a privacy barrier for voters filling out provisional ballots, we encourage you to do so. Station 4 is led by the machine inspector. The key tasks are managing the voting machines according to the checklists in your guide. They'll also provide the ADA device and headphones to any voter who requests them. Additionally, there's a step-by-step guide that explains the procedure for spoiling machine ballots if needed. Now that the polling place is set up, let's discuss election board roles on Election Day. The judge of election is responsible for overseeing the entire election process, including assigning specific tasks to other members of the election board. They will also dismiss workers for breaks when there is a lower volume of voters in the polling place. Ordinarily, the positions will be filled as follows, unless someone is on a break. The majority inspector and minority inspector handle the electronic poll books. The clerk writes and keeps track of the yellow number 2 and number 4 books. The machine inspector sets up and operates the ExpressvoteXL machines. The bilingual interpreter, if available, assists and translates for anyone with languages other than English. Board workers' exact responsibilities may be rotated throughout the day to meet the needs of the polling place. When you have downtime during the day, every board member should complete their payroll via the electronic poll book. Signing in via the electronic poll book is how we will get you paid quickly and accurately. Here's how to complete your payroll. Touch Options. Touch Poll Worker Management. Touch Find Poll Worker. Type your last name. Type your first name. Add Poll Worker. Complete all the required fields carefully. You must use your legal first name and last name and your date of birth. Select your election board position. Enter your address, city, zip code, phone, and email. Be very careful when typing in your information. You can't make any corrections after pressing Save on the poll book. If you do not fill out the electronic poll book, it will take longer for every poll worker to get paid. Please do your part in ensuring that everyone can get paid quickly and accurately. Remember, every poll worker must fill out the electronic poll book and the paper payroll sheet. The paper payroll sheet serves as a backup. Please write neatly in printed letters on the paper payroll sheet. Do not sign in for more than one position unless you're a bilingual interpreter. So you've started the nib, turned on the electronic poll books, opened the ExpressvoteXLs, and set up the entire polling place. Now it is time to welcome every voter to an amazing voter experience. Voting begins at 7 a.m. sharp. Make sure the voting area is clean with no visible food or drink around. Bottles of water are fine. Greet each voter as they approach the election table and check them in. Please make sure that each voter's experience is a pleasant one. This is democracy in action. Voters have the right to vote without being subjected to threat, force, violence, restraint, intimidation, coercion, or any other action intended to deny any individual's right to vote. Remember, electioneering is not allowed inside the polling place. or within 10 feet of the entrance to the polling room. Electioneering includes handing out campaign literature, promoting a candidate, or otherwise discussing candidates or political parties in front of a voter. If someone is electioneering inside or within 10 feet of the polling place, ask them to remain 10 feet from the door of the polling place while they are electioneering. If at any point you need help on Election Day, there are a few numbers you can call for help. Call 911 if you're facing a life-threatening situation, such as a fight, a person using a weapon, a fire, crimes in progress, or a serious medical problem. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong or makes you or voters feel unsafe, call it in. After calling 911, please call the poll worker hotline so that the election board unit is aware of any incident. Call the district attorney's office election hotline for issues including voter rights, voter intimidation, improper electioneering, or other possible violations of election law or other laws. Call the election board unit poll worker hotline for concerns including voter registration, polling place location issues, voting machine issues, unexpected polling place visitors, or questions about election administration, such as provisionals, spoiling a ballot, surrendering a ballot, mail-in and absentee ballots, etc. Further information about electioneering and problems at the polling place can be found at vote.phila.gov/voting-at-the-polls. Poll watchers represent a candidate or political party. Each candidate on the ballot can appoint up to 2 poll watchers per division, and each political party can appoint up to 3 for primary, general, and special elections. However, only 1 poll watcher per candidate and per political party may be present in the division at one time while the polls are open. Watchers may be inside the polling place from the time your election board arrives until the police officer picks up the materials in the evening. However, they must remain outside the enclosed area, the area past the check-in table and directly in front of, beside, or behind the voting machines. After voting hours, all watchers are permitted inside the polling place to watch the vote tabulation. Poll watchers must have a valid certificate from the Office of the City Commissioners. The colors of the certificate change election to election, but they will always be signed and have a raised seal on them. Poll watchers must present their certificate to members of the election board upon request. When no voters are in the polling place, poll watchers can make a few requests: to see the number of voters who voted, to view the poll books and number 2 and 4 books, and to ask for and receive the machine public counts. They may make challenges as permitted by the election code directly with the judge of elections. Poll watchers must remain outside the enclosed area, the area directly in front of, beside, or behind the voting machines. Poll watchers may not interfere with the voting process. They may not handle the materials or remove them from the election board table. They may not engage in electioneering activities. Your polling place may also be visited periodically throughout Election Day by machine technicians who are performing courtesy checks on the ExpressvoteXLs and electronic poll books. Always check for an employee badge or ID card before permitting a non-voter into your polling place. There are several voting scenarios that can occur during the course of Election Day. For the most part, a voter will check in with the board workers who are seated at the election table with the poll books, sign the electronic poll book, and receive their blank paper ballot after the electronic poll book printer has printed the activation barcode on the ballot. After the voter has signed their name, you should confirm the signature matches the voter's signature on record, and initial the electronic poll book where required. The electronic poll book printer will then print the activation barcode. The activation barcode does not contain any personally identifying information, only the voter's division and, in a primary, their party. Ensuring the cut corner is on the upper right side, the voter will insert the paper ballot into the paper ballot slot of the ExpressvoteXL. The voting session indicator light will turn on, signifying that a voter is in a voting session. The voter will select their language preference and touch Start Voting in the lower right corner of the screen. Pennsylvania does not have a straight party ticket option to vote. A voter wishing to vote for all candidates of a particular party shall select each of those candidates individually on the screen. Voters are not required to vote for any office, candidate, or question they don't want to. In a primary election, all candidates on the ballot will belong to the same party. A voter marks their selections by touching anywhere inside the box around their choice. Voters are encouraged to touch the center of each box to maximize accuracy. Once a selection is made, the voter's choice will be highlighted in green. If the voter touches the write-in box for a particular contest, the write-in screen will appear. The voter will type the candidate's name using the on-screen keyboard, then touch the Accept button. The write-in candidate's name will appear in the box, and the box will turn green. If the voter wishes to see the ballot questions in larger print or read the full plain English statement for a ballot question, the voter can select the full text button on the screen. When the voter has concluded reading the ballot question and plain English statement, the voter will touch Return to Ballot. After all selections have been made, the voter should carefully review every selection on the screen before printing the ballot. When they are satisfied with their selections, the voter will touch Print and Review at the bottom right corner of the screen, bringing up a confirmation screen. If a voter wishes to change their selections before the ballot is printed, they may tap Return to Voting. When they're ready, the voter will tap Print on the confirmation screen. The printed ballot will appear in the clear preview window on the Paper Path module. The voter should verify every selection was printed correctly. Once satisfied that the ballot represents their choice, the voter will touch Print Ballot and Cast to Vote on the lower right corner of the screen to cast the ballot. The system will tabulate their vote, and the paper ballot will be stored in the secure ballot hopper inside the machine. The screen will confirm that the vote has been cast by displaying a thank you message and the I voted picture for a few seconds before returning to the Ready to Vote screen for the next voter. Give the voter an I voted sticker when they're done and thank them for voting. They're always the most fashionable items on Election Day. Once a ballot has been printed, it cannot be altered. If a voter wishes to alter their selections after the ballot has printed, they must spoil the ballot before casting their vote. To do this, the voter must select Quit on the top right corner of the screen. This will cancel the voting session and alert you that the voter requires assistance. The machine inspector will announce themselves and ask the voter to exit before entering the curtain. The machine inspector will touch the red alert circle and enter the election code, which is found inside the lanyard. The machine inspector will confirm the reason for ending the voting session by tapping on Voter's Request and then tapping Continue. The paper ballot will eject from the ExpressvoteXL. Hand the voter their paper ballot without looking at their selections. Direct the voter to return to the election table. The judge of election will provide the voter with a black marker and direct them to a secluded area within the polling place, where the voter will black out the barcodes and selections on their ballot before folding the ballot in half. Provide the voter with a spoiled ballot sticker to secure their folded ballot. The voter will return their spoiled ballot to the judge of election to be placed in the spoiled ballots bag. The voter will proceed to the back of the line and begin the voting process again. A board worker will look up the voter in the electronic poll book and will follow the prompts to reissue a new blank paper ballot. The clerk will write S1 next to the voter's name in the number 2 and number 4 yellow books. If second or third ballot are issued, the clerk adds S2 and S3. Voters will have 3 opportunities to spoil ballots. Any voter who has already spoiled 3 ballots may no longer vote on the ExpressvoteXL and will instead be issued a provisional ballot. We'll get into provisional ballots in a few minutes. If a voter received a mail-in or absentee ballot, but no longer wishes to vote on that ballot and would prefer to vote on the ExpressvoteXL machine, they must bring the entire voting package to the polling place and surrender it to the judge of election. If a voter's mail-in or absentee ballot is complete, including the declaration envelope, the judge must spoil the ballot by writing void on the ballot and placing spoiled ballot stickers on both the ballot and the declaration envelope. The judge will place the surrendered voting package in the surrendered mail and absentee ballot envelope. Then the voter must fill out and sign an elector's declaration to surrender their mail ballot form, stating that they are surrendering their balloting materials and have not already voted in this election. After completing this process, the voter will sign into the electronic poll book and be allowed to vote on the ExpressvoteXL. No voter who has requested a mail-in or absentee ballot may vote on the ExpressvoteXL or sign into the electronic poll book without following these steps. If a mail-in or absentee voter cannot or will not surrender their ballot and declaration envelope, they may only vote by provisional ballot. Time to explain provisional ballots. Sometimes, county elections officials need more time to determine a voter's eligibility to vote. In these cases, election officials ask that voter to use a provisional ballot. A provisional ballot records a voter's vote while the County Board of Elections determines whether it can be counted. Any voter appearing at the polling place whose name is not in the electronic poll book is entitled to vote by provisional ballot. Some voters may be required to vote by provisional ballot if they are not otherwise eligible to vote on the ExpressvoteXL. This can occur for any of the following reasons. The voter's name could not be found in the electronic poll book. The voter is required to provide ID, but does not have a valid ID. Remember, you have a list of accepted forms of ID in your election guide. The voter applied for a mail-in or absentee ballot, but is not surrendering their ballot and voter's declaration envelope. In primary elections only, a voter claiming the political party listed in the poll book is inaccurate. Here are some rarer provisional ballot situations. When issuing a provisional ballot to a voter, it's important to follow the steps in the correct order. They're in your election guide. Provisional ballot materials are included in English, Spanish, and Chinese. Before a provisional ballot is provided to the voter must fill in the provisional envelope, printing their name, date of birth, telephone number, and full registered address, and signing in section number 1. In section number 3, the voter must enter their current address if it has changed. Once the envelope has been filled out, the poll worker should hand the voter a provisional ballot. They should vote the ballot in a private, secluded section of the polling place. After marking their ballot, the voter inserts the ballot into the secrecy envelope and seals it. Then the voter inserts the secrecy envelope into the provisional ballot envelope and seals it. The voter must bring the provisional ballot to the judge of election. The judge of election and the minority inspector must witness the voter sign the provisional envelope a second time, this time in section 4 of the provisional affidavit envelope. Again, this is the voter's second signature. The voter will then hand their completed provisional ballot to the judge of elections. Poll workers must check to make sure the voter has filled in all the information and signed the provisional declaration envelope twice. After this check is complete, the judge of election and minority inspector will write the ward, division, date, reason for provisional ballot, and sign the bottom section of the envelope. The provisional ballot should have 4 total signatures on it, 2 by the voter and 2 by the poll workers. After the declaration envelope is complete, the judge of election affixes a ballot ID number sticker on the provisional affidavit envelope and gives the voter a receipt matching the ballot ID number sticker. This ballot ID number will allow the voter to check the status of their ballot after the election. If the provisional ballot was used because voting machines were not working, the judge of election will place a machine down sticker in the bottom section of the provisional affidavit envelope. All completed provisional ballots go in envelope C and then the hopper bag at the end of the night. Let's move to accessible voting in Pennsylvania. Voters with a disability may get help voting at the polling place. They have several choices for how to vote. They can use the ADA device and headphones, or they can bring a person of their choice to assist them. They may not select someone who is a judge of election, their union representative, or their employer. The person providing assistance may not promote a candidate or discourage a voter from selecting a candidate. If the voter with a disability is having someone assist them for the first time, they will need to complete and sign the Declaration of the Need of Assistance to Vote form. These forms will be with the clerk. If a voter requests ADA-assisted voting, the machine inspector will provide the voter with the ADA device and headphones. Once the ballot has been inserted in the machine, clipped corner on the right, the voter activates the assistive voting mode by pressing the green square select button on the ADA device. This pulls up the help screen on the ExpressvoteXL. The machine inspector assists the voter with adjusting the volume and tempo before they begin voting. If the voter has brought a rocker paddle or sip and puff device, the machine inspector can help plug it into the ADA device. Now the voter can listen to the audio ballot instructions using the headphones and navigate the voting process using the keypad on the ADA device. The yellow Next button and the green Select button allow the voter to progress through the voting process and make their selections. Once the voter has confirmed, verified, printed, and cast their ballot, the ExpressvoteXL screen will automatically reset to default for the next voter. If a voter has never voted in your division before, they will be required to show identification as indicated by a yellow status and the Must Show ID comment in the electronic poll book. You will ask the voter to provide this identification, which may be a valid Pennsylvania driver's license or state ID, U.S. passport, voter registration card, student ID, employee ID, or otherwise acceptable form of non-photo ID. Please refer to the Election Board Guide for the complete list of approved forms of ID. You can also visit vote.phila.gov for the most up-to-date list. If the voter does not have an acceptable ID, they must vote by provisional ballot. Once the voter has provided an acceptable ID, they may sign into the electronic poll book and vote on the ExpressvoteXL. If a voter has an inactive status, they must complete an affirmation of elector form before they can vote. The electronic poll book will display a yellow status with the voter status inactive. The board worker provides the voter the affirmation of elector form to be completed, filling in sections A or B depending on whether their address has changed, and then sign section C while the minority inspector observes. The minority inspector will initial the completed form and place it in the number 2 envelope. Now the voter may sign into the electronic poll book and proceed to vote on the ExpressvoteXL. Polls close at 8 o'clock p.m. All polls must remain open until that time, and all ExpressvoteXL machines must remain open. You can't shut one down even if it's not crowded. Any voter who is in line to vote by 8 o'clock p.m. has the right to vote. If you have a line at 8 p.m., a poll worker should hold the last place in line to ensure nobody else attempts to join the line. After all voters have finished their voting sessions and no voters remain in the polling place, you may close the polls. Each board member will sign the affidavit for identification requirements located in the purple folder, swearing under oath that they have examined the approved forms of identification presented by voters for whom the board member has affixed their initials in the poll book. The judge should also double-check the paper payroll sheet and make sure it accurately reflects the poll workers who worked the entire day. It is critically important that no board member may leave the polling place until polls have fully closed and the police officer has picked up their materials. You need to pack up the electronic poll book and printers. There's a detailed checklist of the closing procedure in your guide. Turn off your printers by pressing the button on the top of the printer. The blue light will turn off. Unplug each printer's power cable and USB cable. Put the printers and cables back in the clear bag they came in. And then place them in the ExpressvoteXL machine B. In each electronic poll book, touch Monitor Poll from the main screen. Then touch Close Poll. Select Yes. Touch Shut Down. And confirm your choice with a yes again. Close the barn doors on the electronic poll book and close the flip stand. Place electronic poll books and their power cords back in the electronic poll book carrying case. Keep the packed carrying case out to go with the police officer. The machine inspector will close the ExpressvoteXL. All closing seals are found in the election materials box. You can find a list and photos of the seals in your election guide. Please see the section titled Closing the Polls in your election guide for a step-by-step process to correctly close the polls. Lower the privacy curtain mounts on the ExpressvoteXL. Then pull the privacy curtain from the mounts and roll it up. At the back of the machine, remove the storage container cap and return the privacy curtain to the container. Recap the container. Break and remove the yellow security seal on the back of the white access panel door. The seal number should have already been recorded on the poll site seal card. Return to the front of the ExpressvoteXL and use the barrel key to unlock and open the media access compartment door. Upon opening the door, the machine will make a chirping noise. Touch the red minus symbol on the screen, enter the election code, then select Accept, and then Continue to clear the warning message. Firmly press and release the toggle switch in either direction. Do not hold the switch down for longer than 2 seconds. The supervisor menu screen should appear. Tap Close Polls and enter the election code. Tap Accept. The results tape will begin to print. Feed the tape through the rear of the machine. Do not allow the results tape to touch the screen as it prints. After all results copies finish printing, remove the results tapes and separate each of the 5 copies. The last, longest copy will contain the write-in results in addition to the regular results. Make sure every board member signs all copies of the paper tape from each machine. When the ExpressvoteXL displays the Device Closed and Collected screen, remove the USB stick by pinching and pulling it from inside the media access compartment. It's okay to pull hard. You won't break it. Place the USB stick from each ExpressvoteXL inside the vinyl bag that goes with the police officer. Removing the USB and placing it in the vinyl bag is one of the most important tasks you will do all day. Do not place the USB sticks anywhere else but that vinyl bag, and do not remove them before closing polls. This is critical for counting the votes. The final screen will display the Power Off button. Touch that, then touch Shutdown on the screen. Close and lock the media access compartment door, then lower the gray protective screen cover and adjust the screen angle to an upright position. Return to the back of the ExpressvoteXL labeled A. Using the barrel key, unlock the rear storage compartment door and place the ADA device along with any remaining unused paper ballots back into the storage compartment. Then shut and lock the door. Return to the back of the ExpressvoteXL labeled B. Using the barrel key, unlock the rear storage compartment door and remove the ballot hopper bag. Place any door stops or power strips back in the rear storage compartment. Seal the rear storage compartment doors on each machine with the red closing security seal. Using the barrel key, unlock the Paper Path module door located to the right of the clear preview window. Inside the paper holder on the right side, press the green lever forward to release the ballot hopper from the ExpressvoteXL. Close and lock the Paper Path module door. Seal the ballot hopper with the red wire ballot hopper seal where indicated at the top of the hopper. Record the red ballot hopper seal number on the poll site seal card. Then place the sealed ballot hopper inside the ballot hopper bag. Include all ExpressvoteXL's sealed ballot hoppers in the ballot hopper bag. Do not close it yet. Place the provisional voting materials plastic bag containing the C envelope, spoiled ballots, surrendered mail-in and absentee ballot bag, and the poll site seal card in the ballot hopper bag and pull the string tight to close the sack. Do not use a seal on the hopper bag. Unplug the ExpressvoteXL's power cord from the electrical outlet and secure the cord onto the side of the ExpressvoteXL. Put the black cover back over the ExpressvoteXL. Finally, unlock the wheels on the ExpressvoteXLs and move the machines back to the designated place where they were found at the beginning of the day. Relock the wheels. The results tapes from each machine must be handled in the same way. The final, longest results tape from each machine will go into the RTC envelope within the vinyl bag. One copy will go outside of the polling place for public inspection. One copy will go inside the number 2 envelope. One copy will go inside the number 4 envelope. Extra copies will be given to the Democratic and Republican committee people, if present, and any representative of a minority party candidate. The judge will place the absentee mail-in voters list, city-issued cell phone, and barrel keys inside the vinyl results bag. They must confirm that the USB stick from each ExpressvoteXL is present. Then the bag will be closed and zippered shut. A copy of the completed Oath of Officers form, the number 2 yellow book, one results tape copy, and the record of assisted voters will all be placed inside the number 2 envelope. All posters will be taken down without damaging the walls at the polling place. The election board must wait for the police officer. The police officer will collect 3 distinct materials: the vinyl results bag, electronic poll books inside their carrying cases, and the hopper bag. The vinyl results bag and electronic poll book carrying case should not be placed inside the hopper bag. After the police officer has collected the vinyl bag, electronic poll book case, and hopper bag, everyone may be dismissed. The judge of election is responsible for returning the election materials box and all of its contents to 520 North Columbus Boulevard by 2:00 a.m. that night.
Thank you for attending the Philadelphia Election Board training program. Whether this is your first election or your 40th, your participation makes a difference for every voter in Philadelphia and in your community. We know you will have a safe and happy election day. Thank you for being a poll worker.